So the Financial Times revealed that they have an old oligarch who comes to their offices once a week. Now, once you say old oligarch, we go back to this famous anthology by Francis Godolphin, my old professor at Princeton, who did the Greek historians. And one of the Greek historians is a guy who was thought to be Thucydides, but then not. And he's called the old oligarch. So the Financial Times now has an old oligarch. There's also the interesting question of the Crimean land bridge, right? There was all this brouhaha that Russia was about to seize the entire coast of the Sea of Azov, the entire north coast of the Black Sea, the entire Pontic steppe, the flatlands north of the Baltic, the Black Sea, and get that land bridge to Transnistria. Well, none of that has happened, but nevertheless, the attack goes on, right? And a lot of very ugly propaganda coming out of this. Vitaly Churkin at the United Nations says that Kiev is deliberately trying to punish the population, civilians of the Donetsk People's Republic, because they support the Donetsk People's Republic. In the last couple of broadcasts, I have tried to show you why it makes good sense to support the Donetsk People's Republic. The Kiev regime is a bunch of rotten oligarchs. Kolomoisky in the lead, even though he's, for the moment, he's collecting his coupons from Switzerland or someplace like this. Now you're getting the madman Saakashvili as a governor appointed. It's a government by foreigners. Finance minister's a foreigner, an American woman. Saakashvili is a foreigner. He's a Georgian. So it's the IMF working through a cosmopolitan caste to try to impose those cuts. So remember, the nationalization of the banks, the railroads, the coal, the electricity, the creation of a public sector, including supermarkets and collective farms, if you want it, the 3-child per family encouragement with all kinds of advantages if you're willing to do that. In other words, the policy of President Zakharchenko, back to the state, worked out in detail by Boris Litvinov. This, I think, is it's a real obvious reason to prefer the side of the Donetsk People's Republic. So, of course, the people here in the West either don't know it or they just can't fathom it. So, you put this all together, and it's a big problem. Now, let's just say a couple of things about what should happen with Greece. If it's true, as National Public Radio is telling us, that the U.S. Treasury and others are calling into Europe to say, don't break up the euro over this issue with Greece. It's not big enough. They would otherwise say, not big enough. Well, remember, the Greek defense minister said that he would prefer, out of all the countries to get a financing package from, the U.S. Now, if Lagarde can give orders to the IMF, how about Obama acting like a president instead of this wimp, sometimes slowing down, sometimes putting on the brakes, but not breaking decisively with the policy of brinksmanship and adventurism? The United States could easily finance Greece out of this thing, right? Just step in and say, in order to avoid Greece being included in the Chinese sphere of influence, we will reassert the traditional friendship of the United States to Greece, and we will finance their way out of it, and the austerity will be lifted. That would be enough goodwill to last for 1,000 years. Now, if the U.S. doesn't do it, who should do it? Well, we're told there's this BRICS bank, the BRICS bank. Well, where is it? It's nice to have it, but what are you going to do? Put it on a shelf? It's got to get in there. It's got to get in there, as I've said, for Venezuela, for Argentina, for Egypt, and for Greece. Get in there, you BRICS bank, and finance the Greek situation. And don't do it with this greedy stuff, right? Don't do it with this idea that you're going to privatize everything and buy it up, because that will simply not fly. Now, those are some things that ought to be done. Otherwise, we haven't really been to the brink of financial breakdown crisis now in a little while, right? We're 7 years almost into the crisis, right? The 7 years, as I had occasion to say at the Left Forum, which we'll talk about in the second hour. At the Left Forum in 2013, I pointed that out, right? If you go from 1929 to 1936, you see what? In 1936, you see the French Popular Front, communist socialist government with trade unions with interesting reforms. You see the coming of labor upsurge to the United States, leading to the United Auto Workers, the United Steel Workers, and the other unions. They come from precisely that 36, 37, 38 time frame. Well, this time around, we're 7 years into the Depression, 2008 to it'll be September 2015. Have we had a mass strike upsurge? Yeah, we have. In Greece, a mass strike upsurge that found competent and adequate leadership, Tsipras and Syriza. In Spain, something similar, which has found incompetent leadership in the form of Iglesias. Welcome to our second hour here on World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley reporting from Washington, D.C. But now let's go directly to Athens, Greece, in many ways the epicenter of this current crisis that obviously threatens the entire world financial system and the politics around it, swirling. So our wonderful correspondent, Michael Chiotinis, is on the line. And Michael, I understand we've tried to lay out the Tsipras article in Le Monde, Tsipras' speech in the Parliament today, and you want to add to that. So please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, Wednesday night, Greek Prime Minister Tsipras met with the President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, who presented him a proposal for an agreement forgetting everything that has been discussed in the last 4 months between Greece and the lender institutions. That was actually the reason why he convened a meeting of all political parties' leaders in Parliament today. Right before all this, Tsipras had sent a 47-page complete proposal to the lender institutions. In the same time, let me add, Schäuble made a statement saying, I haven't found the time to read the Greek proposal yet. What is he really saying? He's saying, I don't care about the Greek proposal. He's trying to show utter contempt for what the Greek government proposes. So why such audacity from the part of Schäuble? If not, the only thing that's on the table is the humiliation of Syriza. Now, Tsipras, of course, stated that the proposal that Juncker gave him couldn't possibly be the basis of any discussion. But let's see.
These are the absurd demands, right? The absurd.
Yeah, but
right?
Let us see a couple of short points included in this proposal, because I think it shows a lot about what the real goals are here. I'm sorry, but it's really funny, if not tragic. One is the abolishment of the reduced VAT, the value-added tax for Greek islands, which is just a balancing measure for their economies, because they face much higher prices due to the cost of transportation of goods by ship.
Right.
And so that's a hit on the island. And the other is an increase by 10 percentage points in the VAT, the value-added tax for energy. This will simply destroy any industry left in the country and also put tens of thousands of households out of electricity, into darkness, back to the Stone Age. Now, these two alone...
By the way, it's a highly regressive tax.
Yes, regressive tax. The worst kind of taxation. These two alone, these two measures included, let alone all the other things in the proposal, would destroy any economic activity left in the country and, very importantly, quite simply assassinate any remaining competitive advantage of the Greek economy, namely the islands, because it's sad, but that's all that's left here. Now, why are they doing this? Let me give you a quick reminder. Greek unemployment is officially 27%, a frightening number, but a number that barely captures the severity of the situation. It doesn't count discouraged workers who have given up and have put themselves out of the labor force altogether. It doesn't count so-called freelancers, self-employed, people who own small businesses, who have no real income, as any income goes towards rent and taxes. So and income has fallen very much. So they are in fact a kind of hidden unemployment. Taking into account all these, real unemployment is closer to 40% or more. But 5 years of this policy, and the Europeans insist Greece needs more of it. Why? Why is that? Well, I'm sorry to say, but unfortunately we have come to a sad realization. The Greek economy is being deliberately destroyed. The aim...
Michael, we got this problem again. Reverend Pinckney's on the line. You know how it works. He's got that meter going in the background. Can we have you wait, and we'll be back to you as soon as that's over. Thank you very much for your patience. But as everybody knows, Reverend Pinckney's in jail, so he has a special humanitarian issue. So please, let's talk to Reverend Pinckney. Reverend, this is Webster.
Hey, Webster, I'm glad to have you back.
Thank you. I got to tell you, we were at the Left Forum, right? The Tax Wall Street Party was at the Left Forum in New York City, and we devoted a large part of one of our panels. We had Daniela Walls get up and give a detailed outline of your case, the charges, the tampering with the jury, the perjury by the members of the jury, and the various things that have gone on. So that was all taped, and that I think will expand the public knowledge of your case. And of course, the room was pretty much full for most of this as we did it. So that's just to begin with. So please take it away.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have great news here. I'm at the Lakeland Correctional Facility in Coldwater, Michigan. We call it the penitentiary. We have completed, we got the transcript, the jury transcript for the trial. And here's the good news. I have read it completely, and believe me, nobody will believe what I have just read. It will be impossible for that case that you had went to the jury. They had absolutely nothing, not a single piece of evidence that said that Reverend Pinckney did anything or anybody else did anything. They simply went after me. But here's the good news. The February 27th transcript and the April 14th transcript will be ready within the next 3-4 weeks, and then we can go straight to the appeal court. We can't go to the appeal court until I get the transcript for February 27th and also April the 14th, and we're moving forward. And we know for a fact that what's going on here is just a political move to try to neutralize me. But I'm here to tell you, they'll never be able to neutralize me. I'm fighting from deep inside this prison system, and I want people to know that we're fighting and we're going to win this fight. But it's not about Reverend Pinckney. I want people to understand this. It's crucial that people don't think it's about me, because if they can put me in jail, that means that the movement ends. The movement has continued without me, which is great news. You don't get anything better than this. But let me talk a little bit about this prison right now. This is something that nobody in a right mind will believe. Just the other day, we had what they call sloppy joes. The whole container fell on the ground, on the floor. They scraped it up from the floor, put it back in the container, and served it to the prisoners. In Jackson, Michigan, they found maggots all in the food. And here, the food is so bad that you wouldn't even serve it to a dog.